going to now go into the closing statements. At the beginning of the debate, we had a coin toss to see who went first. Mr. Cabral won. So now we will start the closing statements with Mr. Mitchell. You have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
Thanks, Bob, and thanks to the South End Business Association for putting on a terrific forum and a great place. As you've listened tonight, I hope you've come to understand better the choice you're presented with as voters in the upcoming election. I've done my best to share with you the direction I'd like to take the city and how that sharply differs from my opponent. Mr. Cabral and I couldn't be any more different in terms of background and priorities for the city. He spent 20 years on Beacon Hill in a purely legislative function, but his job was to deliberate and vote, and still is, the same task as the 159 of his colleagues. My task as a federal prosecutor was very different. I had to lead people on a daily basis toward common goals. That is an executive role. Every time I stood alone before a judge seeking a conviction, I had agents, cops, investigators, paralegals, and other attorneys all standing behind me that had weeks and months and sometimes years worth of work behind their efforts, behind our efforts. Without my leadership and their hard work, they couldn't have done their jobs. And together we could not have produced a record of convictions in many different types of important cases. In contrast, my opponent's record of government should give us some pause. When he was first elected 2 decades ago, Beacon Hill treated the residents of the South Coast as second-class citizens. They still do. Consider the recent casino bill that we talked about a moment ago. The bill puts us at a very distinct disadvantage, as we've discussed in the campaign, and we don't have to look any further for proof of that than the votes of the City Council last week and the vote of Senator Montigny last week, both of which reflected their condemnation of the bill as putting Boston at a great advantage over our effort to bring a casino here. For whatever reason, Representative Cabral decided to go along with the Boston leadership in supporting the bill. In my view, this is a troubling example of how he has displayed poor judgment over the years about what the city's real interests are. They are not to kowtow to Boston. When it comes to being mayor, our city needs and deserves real leadership and better leadership. It's the leadership that I believe I can offer. I got into this race because I was convinced that it is critical right now for us to build on the progress we've made in the last few years. Now is the time to act. Now is the time to raise our sights. Now is the time to believe in New Bedford. I believe in New Bedford, and I know you do too. Tonight, I'm asking you to cast a vote. In 2 weeks, I'm asking you to cast a vote for progress, for belief in this city that its best days are ahead. We don't have to slip back. Together, we have the power to build a better city. I ask for your vote on November 8th so we can take that first step in a better direction. Thank you.
Mr. Cabral.
Thank you to the South End Business Association. Thank you to you, Bob, and to all the panelists for hosting this debate. And thanks to everyone who has participated in this campaign. Whether you are a member of the Club Madeirense, or the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick, or the Cape Verdean Vets, or the VFW, all of the above, we are all in this together. Despite our differences, everyone in this room can agree on one thing. We all want to move New Bedford forward and continue the progress we have made. The question is, which candidate is the best choice to help us build a better and stronger New Bedford? My opponent is supported by the few and powerful. They've been controlling this city now for the last 50 years. I know that's not the choice that you want, that's not the choice that you made in October 4, and I know that's not the choice you're going to make in November 8. You heard it. I believe that we are first-class citizens. I am a first-class citizen. Every resident of this city is a first-class citizen. You heard my opponent say that we are second-class citizens. 20 years ago and now. I know that him and the company he keeps have been putting us down for the last 40 or 50 years. Telling us that we are second-class citizens. We are not. We are first-class citizens. And that's the message the voters are going to give you on November 8th. I have lived in this community for almost 40 years. I've been working, volunteering, giving back to this community almost 40 years. I've represented the city in Boston for over 20 years. I've been fighting for this community. My opponent has been in the city for 10 years. He has served on the Zoo Commission. The Zoological Commission. He's been asked to serve. He's been asked to serve by this administration. He has turned them down. New Bedford residents are my friends, my neighbors, and my partners in this community. And I believe that every resident of New Bedford is a first-class citizen. Yeah. Today, 20 years ago, and today. My opponent wants to be mayor of the old New Bedford. The same old, same old. The few, the powerful, those who've been putting us down and calling us second-class citizens. The message is going to be clear on November 8th. It was clear on October 4th. As mayor, I will focus on creating new jobs, improving our schools, and protecting our neighborhoods. I will put my experience to work for the people of New Bedford and work to create a culture of success. Because we can, we must, and we will do better. Don't let anybody else tell you anything else that we are second-class citizens. We are not. And we're going to change that in November 8th. We're going to change that. If you believe that the time for old school politics has passed, if you believe that New Bedford residents are first-class citizens, then I ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 8th, to change New Bedford for all of us. So we have someone at City Hall that represents all of us and all the interests of our first-class citizens. Thank you and good night.